PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for a podcast that's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff. If you're new, so glad you're here. If you've been listening a while, welcome back. It's so good to see you. And trying to think of what else. There was a TV show called Welcome Back, Kotter. It was before my time. But I just know the theme song. Maybe we'll talk about that in the intro. But welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast to keep you company in the deep, dark night. A podcast you don't need to listen to, but there's no pressure for this podcast to put you to sleep. I'm merely here to be a friendly voice in the deep, dark night while you fall asleep because you deserve a good night's sleep. Because I know how it feels. Oh, boy, last night. I was doing some tossing and turning last night. Because I had to be up extra early, 5:30, but technically I didn't, 5:45. Oh, no, I was up at 5:45. But anyway, enough about me. It's about you getting the sleep you need, but I know how it feels. So structurally, what to expect coming up here, we got support. That's how the show comes out free twice a week. Then there'll be a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime, introduce you to the podcast, but to be, friendly, a kind of a show within a show. And then we'll have our episodically modular procedural series. I think that one just got reviewed or renewed. It's not called Time Quest. It's a reboot of a 80s or 90s series. No, that's a company. Those are two companies. Why can't I think of the name of the show? Quantum Leap. There's not any leaping or quantums in this one because I wouldn't even know. I'd have to talk to Paul Rudd if I wanted to know anything about quantum stuff. And Paul Rudd would say, why didn't you just Google it? Why'd you do? And they say, oh. And they say, also, I'm Mr. Rudd's assistant. And it's just, am I going to get a chance to talk to Paul Rudd? Because he seems so friendly. Like, I'd just love to hear him talk about quantum. Oh, this is supposed to be the setup for an intro to a pod. Oh, boy. So that's structure the show. So I go off topic, pointless meanders to put you to sleep and keep you company. So glad you're here. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, Scoots here, and big news. We got something coming up this summer called Subscriber Summer, and if you subscribe to the show on Patreon, there's going to be extra exclusive content, $5, $10, and $20 patrons, in addition to what our most popular things are at the $10 and $20 level, all intro episodes, Fearless Flyer episodes, extra long compilations. But a lot of $5 patrons really like just listening to ad-free episodes and story-only episodes. But if you want to get in right now and you're hearing this message, we are running a sale on annual subscriptions on our Patreon, doubling the discount, 16% off annual subscription. So get in now and prepare for the sleeper summer because this is a great deal. If you're already a patron, it's a great way to save money. We save money because there's a lot of credit cards that get declined in addition to credit card fees. But right now we're trying to get our Patreon back up to what it used to be during the pandemic. So be huge. So if you get a lot out of Sleep With Me, you want extra content, you want ad-free episodes, and you want to be a part of the subscriber summer, sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. And you can see on that page all the perks. There's a video for the $5, the $10, and the $20 level. So you could see everything you get at that level. You get the Discord, we do office hours. But most of all, you're supporting the show that puts you to sleep on a regular basis that you listen to all the time, and you're supporting the show for thousands of people that can't support the show. There's definitely I think there's like over 1,000 listeners for each patron. 60, I don't know. I'd have to do the math. But anyway, thank you so much. Couldn't do without you. And sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. One part of the podcast I need you here. It's where I pop my peas, if you please. And I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. That's how I'm able to keep this show free twice a week for everybody, is the listeners who supported the sponsors, or in this case, our merch, our Sleep Phones merch. And let me know about it. It's a huge help. I want to thank Colleen, Emily, Layla, and Faith, who all got Sleep Phones. And remember, the only way you can get the Sleep Phones, Sleep With Me version of Sleep Phones is using our link, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. But wherever you buy your Sleep Phones, use Sleep With Me, one word, to get a discount. And I couldn't do it without Colleen, Emily, Layla, and Faith. And oh boy, our Sleep Phones comfortable. So thanks so much for getting those and supporting the show. The next part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. If you're in need of extra support, there's links to resources, including resources you can connect with right away internationally, right in our show notes. So please use those resources. It's also about being a part of positive change, taking action, learning more, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop API hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking that first step to do something, to be a part of. And there's links to resources in our show notes where you can do that. And one of the things we're doing is building hygiene kits for people who are experiencing homelessness, and supporting the Midnight Mission, which is a shelter in downtown Los Angeles. And you could take part in that. Sign up for our free newsletter, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission, and be a part of positive change. And the third part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is something we support, and I support other podcasters, other podcasting communities. And if you go to ADHDrewired.com/events, the link will be in the show notes. You can join me and the rest of the ADHD Rewired team. They have, on the second Tuesday of every month on Zoom, they have a monthly live Q&A, and that's the second Tuesday every month. It's at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And on the next Q&A, I'm going to be there. It's me, Scoots. I'll be there on ADHD Rewired on their live monthly Q&A for Zoom. That's March 14th, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Come ask your questions. My friend Eric hosts the ADHD Rewired podcast. I've been on there as a guest before, fellow fishhead even. So come on, ADHD Rewired/events. Check it out and join me. That's the last part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. A mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dearest Scooter on Instagram and Twitter. That's where you can find me, Dearest Scooter. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble, getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. And what I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts on your mind that you're thinking about. So thoughts, thinking stuff. So thoughts about the past, present, and future. Could be feelings, anything emotionally coming up for you, related to those thoughts, or self-creating feelings, spontaneous feelings. Everybody says, well, like, how about here's an idea. Maybe I haven't thrown this one out there. New rule. I don't have rules. I just have general guidelines, by the way. Brain. Because then it goes over all the rules with me at bedtime. How about let's keep any spontaneity at bedtime, unless it's falling asleep. Let's keep this, we don't need any spontaneous, like, things. No offense. I mean, I don't know why my limbic system, my emotions, and my thoughts, they say, when you were talking to that person that, you said, wait a second, hello, and then you had nothing to say spontaneously. I got a lot of spontaneous stuff right now. Like, my thoughts are like, I got like 3 hours of new material. And my feelings, I say, where were you? We're like, we were just waiting. We're for a good time to be spontaneous. So I guess this is more a message for me, or maybe you agree, though. You say, could we keep this, could we save daytime? Can we make our spontaneity diurnal? Or is that nocturnal, and isn't diurnal during the day? Cool. Let's say this. Let's keep our here's a more general guideline. Closer to meal times. Let's have our how about this one? When I could actually use it, that would be great. I'm sorry. So it could be feelings, but I could use, there's other things on demand. I have more demanding spontaneity than spontaneity on demand, SOD. It's a new streaming service, Spontaneity. That does sound like a company, right? What do? We're AI-based systems analyst, project management guidance system for EQ. Spontaneity. Oh, interesting. Nice pitch. I don't have any venture capital, but if I did, it would. Anyway, okay, so thoughts, feelings, anything coming up spontaneously or that's there. It could be spontaneous or physical sensations, however they're coming up for you. Could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be anticipating something. Like for me last night, I was anticipating getting up at 5. I had a few alarms set. I wasn't even traveling. I just had something I had to do that started at between 5:45 and 6 a.m. So then I said, well, let me go to bed early. Then what happened was I just talked about this on another intro, but the intros I fell asleep for 5 minutes. And then I woke back up wide awake. Then I got back to sleep, but it was like, that thing. You know what I'm saying. Some of you can relate. So whatever it is that's keeping you awake, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of it. Eventually, there is a reason I kind of go over that part first. I'll explain in a second. But what I'll do is I'll send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents, which means I'll go off topic. I'll get mixed up. You've kind of heard of a couple already. I'll repeat myself. Then I'll forget. I said, was I talking about Welcome Back, Cotter and Paul Rudd? And he said, you were. And so that's, that's what I do. And the reason I make the show, this is the important part and why I went through all this stuff about thoughts, feelings, and stuff before I got sidetracked about whatever. I want you to know two things. The first thing and the most important thing, whether you never listen to the show again and you loathe me, I still want you to know you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a place you can get some rest, and the rest you need. You deserve a bedtime you don't dread, a bedtime you could look forward to, or at least feel neutral about. And that's what I'm here to try to provide, or to try to help you set up. And it doesn't work for everybody, but that's why I make the show. Because your life will be more manageable if you're getting the rest you need and you deserve. And then eventually, if you start getting that rest on a regular basis, you could be out there in the world flourishing. That makes our world a more positive and beautiful place to be in. And that's the truth. And it's important to me. And you say, why is it important to me? You don't know me. This is digital. It's nonsense. And I say, okay, let me lay one more thing on you. I know how it feels, and I might not know exactly what you're going through or what you're dealing with, but I know how it feels. It's last night. Got to get up, not exactly in a hurry to get up early either, would be ideal to get 6 or 7 hours of sleep. So I know what that feels like, but I also know the feelings that are below that, right? And that, so I know how it feels. And if I don't know or can't relate to how you feel, there is someone listening right now that probably can, and that's nodding their head. So you're not alone, even though this is it's not an antidote for loneliness. It's just a hand linking together. It doesn't change that as in the fact they say, well, there's somebody else over there feeling lonely. That does make you feel less lonely, I guess. Or there's somebody else that they might not understand, but they know what I'm dealing with. They know how it feels. So those are the reasons I make the show. So if you never listen again, know that. And then if you really strongly dislike me already, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, because there's other audio podcasts and stuff on there. So the other stuff you need to know, or that might be helpful, is when you first listen to the show, even if you don't loathe me, you probably are like, what is this? What is this person going on about? And I thought this was a sleep podcast. Everybody says it puts me to sleep, but you're just talking about nothing. And like, I'm skeptical, I'm doubtful. And I'd say, totally, that makes a lot of sense. If you've tried a lot of stuff to put you to sleep, why wouldn't you be skeptical or doubtful? And I'm going on and on and on in an intro to a podcast, and I already had a pre-intro or a teaser. Yeah, it's this show is very different. So let me tell you a couple things. One, most listeners say it takes 2 or 3 tries to get used to the show. One of the reasons is this is a podcast you don't really listen to, but you could really listen to it, which is it's not even counterintuitive. It's anti-intuitive. Because you say, wait a second, what? And I say, yeah, this is a podcast you could barely listen. You could just barely pay attention, like a friend that's calling you. And you say, hey, talk to me, but I'm not going to listen to you. Like, I just want to hear your voice. I want you to keep me company. But you could turn me down to a mumble, like a TV on in the other room. But if you can't sleep, I'm also here to be that same presence, that friend in the deep, dark night. And that's kind of what ends up working about the show. It's like you could listen if you can't sleep, but you don't have to listen. But if you need to listen, I'm here. I'm here to the very end. But there's also no pressure to fall asleep. This podcast doesn't actually put you to sleep. It just keeps you company, and suddenly you drift off. I distract you with something you barely need to pay attention to, and you know it's there for you to barely engage you. But if you need it, it's there. That's maybe what works about the podcast. I don't know. So I'm here to keep you company and not really put you to sleep, to be your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar bud, your boar bestie, your neighbor, your boar burr, your boar bruh, your boar friend, your boar bud. I'm here to keep you company in the deep, dark night. And if you can't sleep, I'm here, like either way. The other things that new listeners want to know about is, where's Paul Rudd? If a regular listener is just laughing because they say, I don't think, unless Scooter does a Paul Rudd imitation of Paul Rudd doing an imitation of Antonio Banderas, which would probably be better than Scooter's. So that's a lot of pressure. I don't think Paul Rudd's appearing on Sleep With Me. Unless it's like, because I couldn't do a phone call where I say, can you put me through to Mr. Rudd? And I mean, I could probably call another Paul Rudd, but that wouldn't be as good. And they say, okay. And they said, what were you calling? I forgot. And they said, it was like I'd finally get through. And he'd say, this is Paul Rudd. What's up, bud? And, I mean, maybe that's not how Paul Rudd answers the phone, but he'd say, what's this regarding? What's up? I say, I forgot actually, because I banned spontaneity at bedtime. And it paid me, I think it was about quantum something, but I don't remember. Here's the thing. I know that you're in a fictional film playing a character. Any chance you could take my spontaneous bedtime thoughts, feelings, and stuff? Can't do it. Okay. Thanks. Great talking to you. Well, we just got that went pretty well, except for the part where I forgot. And I probably, like I do most things, I eject early. I say, let's get off. We've embarrassed ourselves with Paul Rudd. So let's just let's just get out of here, instead of saying, so did I just blow it? Like, could I have been, do you think that was going well enough where I may have been friends with Paul Rudd there? And that would have cured everything. Holy cow, all my problems would be gone. Probably not, though. That's the reality. But that's what I'm here to keep you. That's what I'm here to keep you company. I'm an expert in this being a human stuff. I got it down. Mistakes, I have not made a few. I've made much more than a few mistakes. And all of it was doing it my way. So, okay. So, structure of the show. That's what I was trying to explain. Show starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back, Cotter, or whatever I said. Then there's support for the show, so it can come out free twice a week. Then there's support for listeners. Then there's the intro, which goes on and on and on. It's not part of the sport. It's a show within a show that's meant to ease you into bedtime. It introduces the podcast to a new listener, but for a regular listener, it can be part of your routine. And instead of putting you to sleep, it could put you to sleep, or you could skip it. But for a lot of listeners that are either getting ready for bed or doing some other chill activity or getting comfortable. And so the intro is here to do that, to kind of be a transition from being awake to asleep. Then there's some support between the intro and the show. So again, the show can be free. And then there'll be our episodically modular series about how great pets are. And I think this one will be about an elephant, which technically isn't pet for everybody, but in this particular situation, you could classify it as a pet. And what else? Oh, so welcome. Why did I talk about my experience with Welcome Back, Cotter? I've seen highlights of it. Maybe I've even seen an episode. I mean, probably, I don't know if they have that on that Pluto TV thing, but they, I know it from buying used Mad magazines, and I had a comedy album once with TV theme songs that we bought at a garage sale, and that song was on there. So actually, that was the first thing. And my dad would tell me about it. He'd say, oh, they say Mr. Cotter or something. And I'd say, okay. Because back when I was a kid, we didn't have digital media. So it was like you had to wait for something to come on, repeats or something. And then I'm sure, like, when it was the 80s, I was buying 70s Mad magazines and reading those. So I'm sure I know there was one about Welcome Back, Cotter. I didn't really understand it, but I know the theme song. So anyway, not important. Why was I talking about that? Oh, the intro eases you into bedtime. Oh, I think I just wanted to close that conversation out. And, yeah, so that's it. I think that's everything. Structure of the show. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. So thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, home of the Name Your Price tool. You say how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you the coverage options to fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote. Visit Progressive.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, it is time for our episodically modular series. And I say this a lot, but this one is particularly modular. It's called, I think no episodes have come out because I record these, ideally the show is like 3 months, recording 3 months before the episodes come out. And I think right now we're like 2 months, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be called Make Great Pets. It's not a flashy title. And it's a little bit confusing. That's good for sleeping. A little behind the scenes of how I pay. Like I said, well, it's a little dull, Make Great Pets. And, but it does come from, I don't know. But for the time being, you see, this is the first time an episodically modular series has changed its title mid-season. Because, I mean, Spice Friends, is that what it ended up being called? I don't even know. So there's a lot of times that, anyway, this is our episodically modular series. So episodically modular, I don't even know there's a title that fits it. And all that means is you can listen to them in order, but if this is your first episode, don't worry. This is a very straightforward, for Sleep With Me, it's a very straightforward concept. I did try to pitch it to somebody that doesn't listen to Sleep With Me the other day, and I stopped talking. Like, it literally petered out. They were a really friendly, kind person, but they were watching me explain the concept, but they don't have any context about Sleep With Me other than reading about it. So they were just like, the look on their face, I just said, anyway, let's just move on. So, like, perfect. That's how you know you're on to something. So this is Episodic with Madra. You could listen to it in any order. And basically, it's a tale about a character or a hero or a figure named Ren who has gone into a new stage of existence, post-Earth existence. That's one of my favorite things. Talk about. Not only did I stop living in the past and the future, I said, well, I need to live in a earthly existence. But Ren has arrived in one of the various stages of post-Earth existence, and Ren is a part of a training program where, and Ren will talk about this, I think, but some sort of new, assistance. The theory you would be most familiar with for maybe it's like a guardian angel. Like there's what is that? There's stories that say we all have a guardian angel assigned to us to keep an eye out. And there's been other stories about this. And in this sense, this is something similar to that. It's a new program. The post-Earth organizers and planners and stuff, or maybe, I don't know if that's a board of directors, or they sent it out to creative, and then creative came back and said, let's try this. Instead of Guardian, we no longer are doing the Guardian Angel program. We're going to pilot this new program where we send people in their stages of post-earthly existence into pets of people living their earthly existence at a major turning point in their lives, but not a super major turning point. And the pets stay pets. They don't become whatever. They don't become auto, whatever, they don't develop human characteristics, even though there's a post-human, Earth human within them. But they can influence the pet to try to influence a person's decisions at this turning point in their lives or help them. And the reason the details are so vague is because it's a new program, and Ren may be the first person doing this, or do you call yourself a post-person? Say postmodern. I'm a post person. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Postmodern. I'm a post person. I'm a post personist. I'm a post personist person. I'm a post personist person. You say, I'm sorry, you lost me. That's what this person's face said when I told him. I didn't even say that. I didn't need to. So that's our episodic and modular series about pets making people's lives better. I mean, it's really that. Could have been, I could have just stopped talking there, but then it wouldn't be Sleep With Me. But speaking of turning points, talk about the red carpet, talk about a turning point. I was watching an MTV series, I think it's on MTV. I don't know. I just watch it on, watch it on, like it's recorded by the thing I used to watch TV. And I'm sitting there, and it's a show no offense, because I don't think any offense is taken. Talk about a great marketing channel. I'm sitting there. I'm not kidding. I'm sit down to watch a series about people challenging one another. And it's like a soap opera and Survivor combined. And I just recently have set aside some time to get back into it in the past 3 months. And lo and behold, does TJ say, we're going to do some promoting of another brand. It's not only is it a brand, not only is it like a movie you're the star of, but you were in the promo piece. And you might be saying, whom or who? And I'd say, well, you could call him Puss in Boots, but I call him Mr. Antonio Banderas. This is the friends beyond the binary. This is the ladies, the gentlemen, the boys and girls, the members of the challenge. And Scooter, I'm here to help you all fall asleep. Thank you for the kind words. Make sure to see my film if you so choose. No pressure at all. It's time for a tale. Unlike the new Puss in Boots film, which will not put you to sleep, it will put you on the edge of your seats. It's time for Make Great Different, because Puss in Boots is anthropomorphic. I'm getting like Scooter now. It's time for Make Great Pets. Meow. Thanks, everybody. This is Make Great Pets, and that was Mr. Antonio Banderas. Catch Antonio. Antonio's a new movie, or any of his films, or if you see other cool promos of the film, talk about it. I felt like I was cracking an Easter egg. And then there was a promo or a separate advertisement during it with Johnny. Anyway, it's time for Make Great Pets. Thanks, everybody. Well, hello, everybody that's listening, whoever you are. This is my name's Ren. This is a recording, an evening recording in the subconscious or wherever I am within the pet that I'm inhabiting. I'm guessing if you're listening to this, you either found the recording, you're a part of this program, you work for this program, you're learning about it, or you're just listening, you're wondering, what am I listening to? But whatever it is, my job is to kind of talk about what I'm working on, what I've learned, the mistakes I've made, the lessons I've learned, and what hopefully you can apply if you're a part of this program. If you're wondering, what program are you referring to, Ren? Just in case, at some point, I'm assuming, well, I guess I don't want to assume, but at one point there was at one point in history, there was a place called Earth, a multiple timeline Earth. With multiple of those timelines, Earth was inhabited, and the main sentient being on Earth, or I don't know, this is stuff you probably should have a trainer about, but there was humans on Earth, on these Earths, and there was also, I don't want to get into the power, the spirit and belief systems and that kind of stuff, but there was, create whatever, but there's different outside entities trying to help this Earth. And a few different things were these versions of Earth. And a few, the reason I'm in the timeline I'm in, because they said, don't break the 18th wall of belief systems. And I said, I don't think I'm breaking it. I don't even have a third eye. So basically there was one version of Earth. If you were on a version of Earth, maybe you want to sit down for the rest of this. You say, I'm not the only me. They say, yes, you are the only you. Totally. Don't worry about it. This is maybe fiction. Pretend it's fiction. There was one version of Earth where they said, hey, let's help these Earth people out with guardian angels. But guardian angels is if you're in a post-earthly existence like I am, you say, oh, I didn't achieve some, I've sublimated into something else or whatever. I'm not perfect. And though guardian angels supposedly were well-trained, they weren't infallible, right? And you may or may not have heard of the, Penny Bezos, Sears timeline, and the event, they call it. I'm a little distracted just because I'm not good at this setting it up. But what happened with the Penny Bezos Sears thing was that the Guardian Angel program didn't work out. They launched another program, and this ended up impacting multiple timelines. But the program was that instead of guardian angels, they would have guardian, people who would, guardian red spandex wearers. And those guardian red spandex wearers, that it was what caused the event in the timeline, because it kind of disrupted a bunch of timelines, because they said, oh, go ahead, we were keeping you, in tight spandex for a reason, but, like, go ahead, be free and run around, gonna go great. Your second chance is here. So now, and I don't know how many other, I don't know any of the details. This is just really what I'm gathering. So if it's totally incorrect, it's based on, they never debriefed me except on some of the mistakes I made. But basically, the world I'm in, they said this was an option. I said, oh, let's go for it. They said, you want to be part of this new program? Okay, I paused. You probably didn't hear it, but I tried to pause internally to try to, so basically, I'm trying to reject, there's been other things that have happened, but I'm supposed to be in a pet to help people at a major decision turning point in their lives. Similar other, things you may have heard about other ways non-earthbound beings try to intervene in the lives of people in a somewhat indirect way to be helpful. And if you're new to this training program, there isn't, thus far, when I'm doing this, you just kind of, you have to do a lot of gathering. There's not an assignment, so like in the movies where you go through a dossier and you say, whatever, Birdie, we're going to go help, lives here, this. You kind of find yourself inside of a pet, and you can't really, you can only influence the pet. You can't control it like it's a puppet. And then you kind of try to figure out, okay, who needs my help and what do they need my help with? And I think the trainers even said, who, what, where, when, how, why is the best place to start. So let's get to that. My name's Cirrus, and I'm an elephant. Normally I don't lead with the pets, but I don't know. I don't normally consider an elephant a pet. And I would say that this is interesting because maybe people use pet in different ways. I'm a professional elephant, but I live in the home, or we'll explain more of my trainer, who is not, I don't believe the person I'm supposed to help, and Asha, the daughter of the elephant trainer or keeper. So those are the who's, I think. I'm pretty sure Asha, or there's a lot of help needed here. So maybe her father, but all I've heard him is called the keeper or father. And I've worked with her father today, but it seems more of a professional relationship so I could be someone's professional relationship and then someone else's pet. Again, I'm learning. And I don't have a professional relationship with Asha. She seems like she's like a young human, but not a teenager or tweenager. So I don't think she's not being, at this time, it's not my understanding that she's living, her dream is to become an elephant trainer. And then we would have a professional relationship, but I don't know the lifespan of elephants. So for now, I consider myself Asha's pet. Okay, those are the who's right now. And the people of the place I am, which is a place that's dry and dusty. But I think I've learned that this is a flexible thing timeline-wise. But you may find yourself in a time where you'd say, I couldn't even tell you what year it was. And if I guessed, I'd probably be wrong. And so this is one of those times. And I'm not sure when it is, who, what, where, when. But I mean, I know right now, and there is a when for where I am. But the what, who, what, where, when, what, who, what, where, when, why, how. So the when is that there's a lot of, this is a primarily rice producing area, but the rice producing is not going well. And there is a ruler, and the ruler, is, I think a king, I don't know. I'm not following that too much. But the ruler controls the rice for the region and doesn't control the rice production, but the distribution of the rice. And they control it very tightly and very stringently. And I gathered this because I've gone through the town, gone out, and today I was going on a collection to sites where rice was, after it was harvested and stuff, then it goes to a region where I go and pick it up in a sort of bulk manner and deliver the rice. So I'm like a rice truck, an elephant or a rice truck, you could call me. I guess I'm a beast of burden. I never even thought about that. So, but I can see the people watching me, and I could see the feelings in their, because I'm me. And I could see they have very strong feelings about, they would say, well, I could use some more rice. My family could use some more rice. And also there's a lot of people that work for the ruler, and they, protect the rice. And they're not involved in, and they seem like they've consumed more rice. They're very muscular people. The ones defending the rice. So there hasn't been any reason other than hostile looks and grumbling to defend the rice from. But today was my first day. That's what happened. I got up, was fed. Asha came, patted my head. Then I went out on a couple rice trips. And then afternoon came back, got brushed down by Asha, fed by Asha. Then I kind of live in a stable, and this is where I gathered a lot of my other information. The stable has a lot of the elephant. So Asha was playing with me, and I kind of had my own little stall in the stable. But people came, Asha's father, and other people, discussing this rice situation and the shortages and the fact that this has kind of been something historically since this ruler took over, that they've kept a tight grip. And they say, well, I need to control the rice for everybody. And that the situation seems to be getting, people's feelings about it are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And they've come to the conclusion that they need to do something. But the thing is, this is within a walled, so the rice is stored in granaries within the palace compound behind walls of the ruler. I think the ruler's name might be Ruler, which is maybe why ruler. So they don't know where the granaries are, and the people working with the mussels, they're hired from outside the region, I guess, to avoid a conflict of interest. But also I think it creates a tension between the people of this region and them, that's strategic by this ruler. But so the ruler takes the rice into the palace, puts it in granaries. No one, I guess there's not a lot of interaction from inside the palace compound outside. Or if there is, there's also so no one really knows where the grain's stored, if they could get into it anyway. But they keep saying, how can they do anything if they don't know where the rice is stored? That was what the meeting again was about, was the frustration with that and saying, okay, well, we need to do something to find out where the rice is. The weird thing is you'd say, just ask the elephant. That's what probably you're saying. And I'd say, don't know the answer to that, but so I guess that's where we're at is short on rice, about to act. Maybe Asha's not my person supposed to work with, but I'm going to pay attention and listen, and I'll be back soon to explain more. Hey, it's Ren, Cyrus again. Ren, sorry, Ren. Getting my name mixed up with somebody else. There's a couple days have gone by, I'll be honest with you. And normally I like to record every night, but I was really tired and not a lot had happened. More collecting of rice and a lot of playing with Asha because there was some downtime. And also Asha talking to me because she's concerned about her father, because it seems like there'd be a lot of pressure on her father to act. I may be the only elephant. I don't know. I haven't seen any other elephants, so I don't know if there's other elephant keepers or elephant trainers, or if I'm the only one. But this is considered like, they say, you've got the elephant, you need to figure out something, I don't know. So Asha's concerned about her father, but also Asha just seems like she wants to help. So she's been trying to think of ways to find the granary. And she thought of a way yesterday that played into today, which was to put something. So I have feet, right? And I leave elephant prints. In the sand, it's different. But as you get closer to the palace, there's a little bit more moisture sometimes. And so she put something in between two of my toes, like in between two of my toenails or toes. She stuck it in there so that it would leave a print, like pointing in a direction, I don't know. And with the thought that if I go in the palace, spoiler, then she would be able to go up high and see where I went, or see my trail. It didn't work out that way because what happens is they close the doors behind me. So she wasn't able to see anything. But, she's a good kid. She's trying. But she keeps saying she must help. I don't know. We play some fun games. She's very observant. And I've been trying to find ways to help her, like through art. That was a way, or through some sort of performance or whatever. But I'm not sure exactly what to do. She seems like she's wanting to help. It can't really, I tried to explain to her the thing of what happens with the rice, but I'm not sure I can explain it. Maybe it's my elephant limitations. But I tried to do this thing to say, here's where the rice, but I know she's this is a weird one because I'm supposed to be, I guess I'm not supposed to intervene, but I know she's going to have to find out one more thing and figure it out on her own. So I don't know. I'm not explaining it to you either, just in case you're training. Maybe this will help your brain, be in the mind of whoever you're helping. Because it's really tough. If I said, I would just tell her but it wouldn't help anyway, because it'd be like, okay, now we got to come up with a new plan. Meanwhile, there's been another meeting and people are getting so my understanding is we're nearing the end of the harvesting season, so that this will be the last chance until the next harvest, or what? I don't know. I'm not sure I totally follow everything, but that's my understanding. Is we got to do something before all the rice is behind all the walls, because I think they're planning on I'm going to be involved. But I'm not sure how I feel about that either. But I'm not here to be an action star. They must have repeated that at my training 1,000 times. Maybe they just knew me. They said, it's not about you, it's about them. So don't be they said you won't even be able to do it anyway. So Asha wants to, the things about Asha I've been observing. We do a lot of watching of animals, other animals, wild animals, smaller animals, smaller beings. And Asha also carries Abacus wherever she goes. And it was from her mother. And her mother had given it to her in the past. So it's like how she kind of stays close to her mom. And she knows how to use it. I'm not sure even if it's my elephant brain or just me, but I watch her because she'll do stuff like with the birds and do some sort of bird math. And she does different math problems about stuff outside. So I don't know. She's into math and abacuses and natural stuff and talking to me. So she has a plan for tomorrow, but she hasn't. She said, "I have a plan." I think I know what her plan is. But it's not like I'll tell you about it like once I know for sure, because I don't want to assume anyway. So I'll talk to you soon. Hey, it's Ren the elephant, or Cyrus the elephant here, Cirrus the elephant here. And so today it didn't work out, but it's nothing major. It seems like it's going to be a longer assignment, maybe. Though there was another meeting tonight. So daytime, Asha, very brilliant kid, hid on the underside of me because there's like the straps that hold the baskets that I carry, which they use actually a block. I think is that a block and tackle to pull the baskets up on my upper back, but they can lower them down. Big baskets for the rice. They're almost like sacks. But so that has to be, there's like thing I wear on my back, right? That her and her father take off, and that's where they rub me a lot. But there's like a strap underneath, and so she created some sort of way to strap herself underneath as well, and covered herself in kind of burlap and gray, thinking, I think, that she would go with me and find out where where all the rice went. But that's not how it works, because what she found out, unfortunately, that I couldn't explain to her, was she rode with me, but we go into like one part of the palace, but then there's doors on both sides. So the ruler knows, I don't know, to keep the rice, like kind of like if you're coming from my timeline, like an airlock or something, or like what do they call it, a mud room? I knew one person that had a mud room, right? And this is kind of like that. So go into this palace, doors are closed. The door's closed behind me. There's block and tackle. It takes the baskets off of me, puts new baskets on, empty ones, or that's what happened today. But other times they've like emptied the baskets and then put them on. And then they send me back. Now, Asha's father knew all this because he's there the whole time. She didn't ask him about it, but not important. It's not like they have a good relationship, but they don't, there's a tension about this because he's trying to act like he doesn't realize she's hiding out listening to these meetings about doing something about taking the rice and finding the granaries. Now, a new person showed up that they've been waiting for, like, that was going to help them, Kalinda. And Kalinda's here. So they had a meeting with Kalinda. And, again, she went over, like that the time is now to do something. And, she even brought up, and again, Asha had to really snuggle against me because she brought up, people were feeling a little bit down and overwhelmed. And she said, what are your greatest assets? Each and every one of you. And people looked around and they said, oh, the pottery I carry water in, or, my daughter's Abacus, and Kalinda sighed, and then they said, oh, well, our children, that's why we want to do this, right? And she said, yeah, that's why we're doing this. But what's your greatest asset that you have total control over? It's the only asset you have control over. And someone again said something else, and she said, no. She said, can't you, you're your biggest, actually, people had a laugh at that, I think. And they said, and she said, some of you are going to have to use your biggest asset to get this done. And she said to Asha's father, your elephant should know where to go. With the, even though he's like, but the elephant never goes to the granary. And she said, well, we're going to have to find some way. You're going to have, she said, you realize, because she said, well, you and the elephant could create a big distraction. And then the rest of us could find the granary. And, but we'd put your your biggest asset would be in use. And don't worry about it, though. It all, our community will come together, and then we'll have plenty of rice. And you'll be a hero. Your elephant will be a hero. But of course, the father was like, okay, well, and then, but Asha was listening this whole time. So then she's like, we really got to do something. And she thought of this one, which was that, and I mean, it was natural from the thing, is like, oh, I'll just get in the basket. And that took me some explaining. I don't know if this is a turning point. I don't think it is. But I had to show her, she explained to me her plan, and that she was going to just, I'll just hide in the basket, and I'll, she painted she made something look like the bottom of the basket, and, she was like, I'll just hold myself at the bottom of the basket. So then I had to do a bunch of stomping so she would realize, and it shouldn't take her that long, and she actually calculated my weight. And she said, oh, okay, the weight of the rice. She did some math, and she said, okay, that's a lot of rice. You're right. Thanks, Cirrus. And I stomped around. And so then she created a platform. It was already something in her, it was I don't want to, overdo it. But so she created this platform, but while she was working on it, her father found out. He said, what are you doing? And then Kalinda found out. So now the plan is getting stretched out that I'm presuming they're going to use these she's going to sneak in and find, and she talked to Kalinda and her father and said, well, why can't I find the granaries? This is how I can find it. And he said, well, how did you know the bat? And she said, don't worry, Father, but I want to be a part of this. And the father said, no. But Kalinda said, yes. This could save so much of our resources, our biggest resources and assets could all be saved if we know where the granaries are. Then we could just figure something else out. So then they work together. So I think they're finishing. I don't know. They've been working all night, or they're working on it now. Asha's sleeping, but she's going to go under this platform with a fake basket bottom, but to just, keep the weight off of Asha. And so I guess I'll be back to update you. Okay, so it's me again, and good news and other news. So Asha found out where the 3 granaries were over the past few days. And yeah, it's been a while, but nothing's really happened. But now I know something's happening because, Yeah, I do know something's going to happen. Almost, harvest almost done, but not complete. And they say only a few more trips. So Asha knows where the 3 granaries are. She mapped them out, remapped them. So, so the hiding the basket worked. She would just have to wait. Wasn't easy for her, holy cow. Because she had to wait in the baskets till the baskets came back. But she's a tough kid, so now she's even tougher. And they asked her what she was doing the whole time she was sitting in the basket. She said, math. And today we were watching ants doing some sort of their harvesting. And she said, look at that. She said she talked about the trees and leaves and how much, and she was telling me the numbers. She learned all this from her mother, right? Because her mother worked in math or abacuses or whatever, numbers. So she knew, like, like she said, these ants, if only they could do. She goes, if we could only send them in to get the rice one by one. And she even told them that, but she said, what if we train the ants? And they said, there's not enough time to train the ants. And then Kalinda came up with a plan. And this is where I say, okay, I got to do something, because Kalinda's plan is to adulter the rice, or have Asha adulter the rice, and continually adulter the rice, and I'm not even sure it's a good plan, to be honest, but that, because everybody's like, but how do we know that the ruler's going to eat that rice? And she said, don't worry, we'll figure, she said, trust me on this. But then I get the sense that she's not being perfectly clear with us, but even if she was being perfectly clear and her plan made sense, I think I would have to do something, because I don't think I want Asha involved in that, because she's now having to choose between something, because even she said, well, who else is, the ruler has, the people that work there, the people that work for the ruler. The ruler presumably has people close to the ruler that are not involved with ruling. And Kalinda said, don't worry, think about the precious assets in your life, Asha. And do a little growing up. But I get a sense that I don't know. And so that was one thing. But then the father came one night after this all happened and said, listen, I'm not sure what we should do. I love you more than anything, and I can't have you. I know Kalinda has this plan, and I know you want to be involved. Do you want to be involved because you're protecting me? And she said, yeah, father, you're my most precious asset. And he said, you're my most precious asset. I don't care what Kalinda says. It's you first, me second. And she goes, yeah, but for me, it's you first and me second. And you have to respect that too, father. It took him a while to get the fact that they basically had to make a deal that neither one of them would do anything, which they eventually, late last night, agreed on. But then Ash came to me and said, Father's not, at least I bought myself a day. So tomorrow we have to come up with a plan. Because, she said, because their plan with Kalinda said, let me work on my plan and gathering information or whatever. But, so she's like, tomorrow we got to come up with a plan. So I guess tomorrow's the day I got to help Asha for real come up with something. Okay, so it's me again. And a couple important points, but we'll see tomorrow. I did help Asha with the only things I knew, the resources I thought I had, which was like I tried, nonverbal communication via dance. That was my stomping earlier. But I knew she had a thing for the ants, her connection with her mom, and the abacus. And I guess I see my role as like those are the important things to her. And she was trying to come up with a plan. But I said, okay, use these resources and come up with a plan. But I couldn't say that. So all I could do is I let all the ants, they were already using me to get to a tree, but I stood near a tree they wanted access to. And then I just clicked the abacus in a calming way back and forth. While Asha lied there listening to it, watching the ants. Now, I didn't have the plan. I did not come up with this plan or have it. I just clacked the abacus and let the ants do their own harvesting using me as a temporary bridge. And I felt pretty good about it. I said, well, at least I'm helping these ants, and I'm clacking this abacus, and it doesn't. And then she said, that's it. Because her mother worked with the previous ruler, and I didn't know any of this till she told me. She said, Mother worked with the previous ruler, and that previous ruler, she had lost something, and she said, whoever finds the thing I lost will become the next ruler. And I think it was something metaphorical, a whole nother tale or whatever. I don't have time to get into it, but the ruler was the one who found what she lost, whatever it was. Oh, everyone else, brought her, here's this gold, or, here's this pottery or whatever. She said, and that's not it. But this person knew what it was, and she made them know. She said, when you make a deal like this, you have to keep your promises, and you have to be willing to make deals. And that's kind of what the ruler's now using against everybody with this rice, is misusing the term fairness in the distribution of the rice. But then Asha was looking at the ants and calculating something, and she said, I have a plan. But she didn't tell anybody her plan. She acted like she was going to follow through with, Kalinda's plan. Now, at the same time, so Kalinda brought her the supplies. She got in the basket, and we brought her off. But it was pretty clear that Kalinda's plan, well, because I went back without Asha. And then tonight, Kalinda said, why don't you go rest, and we know everything's going to be fine with you. Because the elephant keeper was so not happy about Asha having to go off and do this deed. But the elephant keeper didn't even realize that Kalinda's real plan was to have Asha, not adulter the rice, but that one of the granaries would go up poofy poo, and that would create a distraction so that then they can all go in, so that when Asha comes back, she's going to say, now this time you're going to create a fire. Because you could tell by the smell of the stuff, but she told the plan to all the rest of everybody. And she said, and then, so in 2 nights' time, one granary will go, but we'll use the elephant. We'll get through the doors. I'm going to break down the doors, according to her. But she doesn't know what's come. She doesn't know that there's another plan. So hopefully that plan will work. I guess this is a backup plan. And then everybody else will go to the other 2 granaries and take them while everybody that works for the ruler's trying to put the other water down the other granary. So that's what's happening. But I think I'm 100% not 100% confident, but I trust this Asha. I know she's got a plan. Hey, it's me. It's been, actually, believe it or not, it's been this is my last night, but it's been 30 nights since I last recorded, because I didn't think I needed to do the update, because my job was done, which is weird, but I guess I had to make sure that the backup plan didn't work. So Asha never put anything on any rice, any adulterants or anything. what she did do was she had brought some cutting thing, a little tiny thing to cut a hole, a grain side hole in the basket that she used when she left, because she would sneak in and out of the basket, obviously, like when the empty baskets came home with me. But she put a tiny hole in the bottom of the basket, and then she waited for me to go and collect one of the last harvests. And then, now I guess you can't see this in the sand, but it was dropping just one grain of rice, or just about 1 or 2 grains of rice, a really tiny hole, all the way back from the collection area to the airlock area. And Asha started following me not far behind, and she was filling her pockets and then her, like, holding her blouse and skirt as like a bag and picking up the rice as she followed along with me. And basically they saw, like, then the muscle people saw her coming, and they said, "What, like, give us this rice." And she said it was falling out of that basket there. And then a couple pieces of rice fell in one of the people's hair. They said, "Oh, it's got a hole in it," and they're supposed to inspect it, but the hole was so small they didn't see it. And they said, "Give us the rice," and she said, "Well, I want to give it to the ruler directly." And she said, "Don't worry, like, I'll make sure that I'll return it to the ruler and say that you're not to be blamed." And they said, "Okay," like, they trusted her. I mean, because they'd seen her around. Also, I was in there with them, so I gave them a couple shuffles, like go get the ruler, right? Go, because she was banging on the door. They let her into the airlock because they wanted the rice. They go get the ruler. Now, I didn't even realize I was involved in this. Pretty cool. That's a famous, thing. But then Asha told the ruler said, "Hey, thanks for giving me," she said, "Yeah, I found it on the ground. I know it's your rice, not our rice. Our rice is the rice we received from you." And, she said, "So I'm happy to return it to him." He said, and the ruler said, "Why don't you keep it?" And she said, "Well, can't we trade and make a deal? Like, I found what you've lost. And isn't that part of the thing, like, with the turnover?" And they said, "Oh, well, do you want to become ruler?" And I said, No. They said, "Well, why don't you take this rice? It's probably like it's a lot of rice." Now she said, "I'm not sure, you're like, I had an idea because you manage the rice so well." She said, "What if you give me 1 grain of rice today? Because, I'm just a silly little child. And then you double it for the next month. That's it. And then, so tomorrow you give me 2 grains of rice. Then I'll come back and, or she said, I'll tell you what, you can send them, bring it to me, because, for the, it's the mistake, and that's how they can make up for it, because it was an honest mistake. They don't need, anything else. And then they bring me 4 grains of rice. Then the next day, 8, just keep going up. But at the end of just for 30 days, you don't got to do it anymore. And the ruler laughed and said, sure. Like, there's a lot more than 8 grains of rice here, though. Or even 16, even 32, laughing up a storm. And so the ruler went, and Nasha said, "Remember, witness, that you keep your promises, right?" And the ruler said, "Yeah, don't worry, like, double the amount from 1 to 2 to 4, every day." And she goes, "By the way, it goes 1, 2, 4, 8. But anyway, great. And maybe this tale, I didn't realize I'd be a part of it. Basically, by 30 days, all the rice had been redistributed to Asha. All 3 granaries were emptied. And Asha said to the ruler, and the ruler said, "What, like I'm going to need some of that rice," or the ruler was in a conundrum, because also all the people that worked for the ruler needed that rice, but they also saw the deal that was made. And Asha said, "Don't worry, like like what we could do is, it hasn't been working the way the rice has been being distributed. There's like, I think we should I should actually, this part was not in the famous tale, but she said, this is the prudent reserve we would need. And she goes, and even if you eat more than we do, this is the prudent reserve of rice, which is like only 1/3 of one granary. We would need that at the beginning of the next harvest, like a prudent reserve for a time of shortage, like now. But she said the rest of it can be distributed. And she said, actually, by my calculations, we'll have more than that as a prudent reserve if everybody eats what we've, normally would eat for our normal intake. But she said, I'll let you claim this plan as long as you, follow through on it. And the ruler said, sure. And so that's the deal. I got to be a part of something. I mean, I didn't really do anything except for clack and Abacus, sit there with her, and know that she would figure it out. So I don't know if that's a new one that I learned, is that she was able to figure out the solution. I was present for the turning point, and I don't know. So I don't know what I learned, really, other than I can be involved without being overly involved. So I'm going to get some rest. I'm sure I'll turn up in a new pet soon. But yeah, it's good night for me. Good night, anybody that's listening. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. Robert, Beatrice, and Emily, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Julia, Jennifer, and Chad, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Claire, Nicole, and Stacy, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Emily, Marta, and Michelle, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Kayla, Aduman, and Emily, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Leah, Todd, and Chris, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Beth, Nickels, and Mariah, thank you. Thanks, good night. Renee, Tristan, and Sally, thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Ari and Becky, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. And assuming it exists a free show because people support this podcast directly or support the sponsors. So that's why I take the time to thank people who really appreciate it. It wouldn't be possible without all of you. Free ways to help the show is be kind to other people. Spread the word about podcasting in general. You don't even have to talk about Sleep With Me. Just, grow podcasting a little bit. And, yeah, thanks, and good night, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. Before we tuck you in, remember, if you listen all night long, you don't even have to hear this message. If you were a patron, you wouldn't be hearing this right now. A lot of people that were all-night listeners that converted to becoming a patron tell me how much they get out of it. So if you listen to the show on a regular basis, you listen to it all night long, or you just really love the podcast and you want to say, hey, I love the podcast, I get so much out of it. Scoots, let me give you something back. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. 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 Thanks, everybody.